Hey everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and tonight we got episodes 4 through 6 of Andor Season 2. And yeah, this one was kind of a strange one. We are officially at the halfway point of Season 2. We only have 6 episodes left of Andor ever. That's it. And I gotta say, while a lot of stuff happened in these episodes, it also kind of feels like not a lot happened, I guess, because, you know, we did another time jump. Every cluster of 3 episodes, we're going to jump forward 1 year, right? So we're in 3 BBY, and I guess I did not realize that the Gorman Massacre does not happen until next year, 2 BBY. That's when it's supposed to happen, I think. So kind of this entire run, like for those first 2 episodes, I was like, okay, so the big thing is gonna happen, right? Like whatever their version of the massacre is gonna be, it's gonna happen in this 3rd episode, and it didn't end up happening. We are introduced to Gorman a lot, like it's very Gorman focused, and I think that's obvious to set up, you know, the next 3 episodes. And I'm definitely curious how everyone else feels about these year jumps that we keep getting, because it almost feels like they have to reestablish where everyone's at, what everyone's doing, and they're gonna have to do that once every 3 episodes, because now it's like, okay, so we have this person over here, we have that person over there, and has any progress been made on the stuff that they were trying to do in the last year plus? Like, what's been going on, you know? And now we gotta catch back up again. So I don't know, I'm curious what everyone else thinks. It's interesting as a, you know, structure for a show, right? Because even though we're getting, like, you know, year to year, it's like we're only getting this small tiny moment. How much stuff is happening that we're not seeing, you know, in this year? Is this the most significant series of events that happen in this year, and that's why that we're seeing this, or are there much more important things happening off screen? I don't know. But in any case, that's just my thoughts on, you know, the format that we're watching this in. Anyways, let's go ahead and break down kind of where everyone's at, what's even happening. So first, you know, like I said, we're visiting Gorman a lot. Basically, Cassian is sent over to Gorman because, hey, there's a lot of the rebel movement there is getting kind of antsy, right? Because turns out 15 years earlier was this massacre. I guess not the Gorman massacre, but just a massacre. But it is the one from Legends. It is like Tarkin lands his ship on a group of protesters. I think they said like 500 people had died or something. So they have this big monument in the center of their city. So first, it is cool that they took that event from Legends and they made it canon. So that did happen. But presumably, there's going to be a more recent event that happens, you know, in 2 BBY that causes Mon Mothma to, you know, officially leave the Senate and start the rebellion, because that's the events that we saw in Star Wars Rebels. So we know that something else is going to happen. But it is cool that they, like, hey, that other thing that happened in Legends continuity, that still happened. You know, they didn't rise up against the Empire yet, but it did happen. So I think that's kind of cool. Anyways, basically they're building a this giant structure. The Empire's building this structure. They all know it's an armory, but, you know, basically the underground group there at Gorman is trying to basically wake everyone up, start a big uprising, basically have their own Ferrix, right? Have their own Ferrix moment on Gorman. And Cassian goes there and he just realizes how unprepared they are, how ill-equipped to deal with anything. Like, okay, so you steal guns, but you live here. They know that it was you who stole the guns. You know, it's easy to steal something and then jump to a different planet, but if you're staying here, you know, like, they're just gonna make life hell for you. So he leaves. He doesn't want to do this mission. He, you know, he just tells Luthen, like, these people don't know what they're doing. They're gonna get themselves killed. You know, they shouldn't do this, okay? And Luthen's like, yeah, but hey, they want to uprise. I'm in the business of making rebellions, you know, so we're gonna let this happen. Basically, just to show what we kind of already know about Luthen, where it's like, you know, these people rebelling and then getting massacred for it, which is definitely gonna happen. Um, that is worth it if it means that everyone sees that happen and it causes basically this ripple effect of rebellion to happen, right? So basically the sacrifice of all those lives of all the Gorman rebel, you know, this rebel group, the Gorman Front, right? It's worth them dying in Luthen's eyes, right? And that's where Cassian's like, no, they're gonna get themselves killed, they shouldn't do this. And Luthen's like, yeah, but we're gonna help them. So he sends Bix, no, not Bix, sorry, Cinta and oh, I cannot remember her name now. Mon Mothma's cousin. For some reason, I can't remember her name. Anyways, sends them to basically take Cassian's place, lead these people, tell them how to pull off this heist, and that way the rest will just happen on its own, right? The Empire will react, and then there'll be a big massacre, and then everyone's gonna see it. Now, what they don't know is that this seems to be basically the exact plan that Deidre has already set up. She has Cyril basically infiltrating this group, pretending that he has all these doubts about the Empire, and he's kind of, you know, talking with his mom on the phone, kind of like, I don't know, I don't believe all that propaganda the Empire is saying about Gorman. I don't buy it. You know, you're watching too much Imperial news, which is just a really funny thing to say, because we all know what they're really talking about, like in the real world comparison. Anyways, so I thought that was kind of funny. Anyways, he knows that his phone and all that stuff is being tapped. He knows that the Gorman Front are listening to him. That way they will approach him to be like, hey, do you want to be our guy on the inside? Because you don't like the Empire either. You know, so this was all part of the plan. He's going to infiltrate this group, cause them to do something really stupid. That way the Empire can come in and do their whole mining situation. That's what their real goal is, to mine. Okay, now it is revealed that Deidre is keeping something from Cyril still, so they're still a couple, they're still together, but you know, they can't be seen with each other because obviously, like, he's trying to pretend like he doesn't like the Empire that much. But yeah, so there is some other element of this that the ISB top boss, I don't remember what's his name, Radagast, I don't know. Anyways, her boss, there's some kind of secret there that Deidre's still keeping from Cyril, even though they are a couple. So, you know, they're all horrible people anyways, but of course I'm sure there's going to be some kind of betrayal there. We don't know what that is yet. Anyways, so basically, yeah, Cinta and Mon Mothma's cousin, I hate that I can't remember her name. Anyways, they do the mission, everything's going fine, but because of some really stupid struggle between two people who are really on the same side, you know, two Gorman citizens that are kind of just like on the same side, like they agree to do this. They struggle, a blaster goes off, Cinta gets hit, and she's dead, you know, which makes sense because, you know, her and Cinta just now got reunited, they got to kiss a bunch, and it was like, oh, okay, so one of you's definitely dying. Like, that's that's kind of like textbook, like, okay, you finally got together, you're happy for a minute, so someone's got to die. That's just like how it is. That's how it works in these stories. So anyways, she's dead in a really stupid way too, and they point this out in the show, so it's not like an accident that it was like done in a dumb accident way. Like, she didn't get to go out like a hero, she didn't get to do like some big sacrifice. It was like a stupid accident. And so basically the kid who did it, you know, basically she's like, hey, you're gonna carry this around for the rest of your life, you're gonna try to like make up for this, and just like went off on him, right? And he's crying and you know. Anyways, so I'm sure we'll see that kid a year from now maybe be actually competent now, because this has been haunting him. So I don't know, that's probably where that story arc is going. But yeah, I don't know, guys. I mean, they got the weapons, but like I said, this is probably where they're all gonna die. My only thing is, and again, this kind of brings me back to the format of the show, we're going to be jumping 1 year later in the next arc. So they stole these weapons, and I have to imagine there was some kind of immediate retaliation, because why would they wait a whole year to, you know, do whatever this massacre is going to be? So I don't really know what's going to happen. You know, we're going to jump a year ahead and see what things are doing on Gorman, I guess. So I don't know. It's interesting, but I definitely feel like this would have been the time to have the massacre happen, but it just didn't. So, okay. I will also say it feels increasingly, you know, especially these 3 episodes, like Cassian Andor. Look, I know that he's not meant to be like an action hero. He's not invincible, right? Like, he can get accidentally shot just like anyone else if we didn't already know, you know, what his ending was. But I guess my point is, because he didn't go on this mission in Gorman and he just like went back home, it felt like he was so out of the action for these 3 episodes. Like, he's like the title character, and it felt like he was kind of barely in these episodes. So I will say that also. I'm like, I kind of wish Cassian was more involved here. He wasn't doing much. He yells at Luthen a couple times, and he talks to Bix a bunch, and that's pretty much it. I think that's all he does, really. So I don't know. It was fun seeing him dress up as a rich guy and like put on the act of like, oh, I'm a designer, I'm this, I'm that, you know. That's why I'm here on Gorman, you know. And he had to like act all like happy and upbeat, and it was like, that was kind of funny. But still, I kind of wish he did more. Speaking of Bix, yeah, now she is taking some mystery drugs. I don't know if we're gonna say it's spice or whatever it is. She's taking something. It's some kind of liquid little vial, and she's like, oh, I just take it to help me sleep, right? And she's still having those nightmares of Dr. Gast, I think that's his name. And she had these episodes in the first 3 episodes, which again was a year ago, so she's been having these for 2 years now. Anyways, and look, it makes sense. She was traumatized by listening to that audio, and so she's just having nightmares about this doctor. And she basically has been coping with that ever since, and now she's doing drugs. And I don't know, after last week's episodes, I'm like, you know, again, what did Bix do? Leave Bix alone, okay? She can, I don't know. Maybe after the events of this 3rd episode, she'll be okay again, because this 3rd episode does end with them finding Dr. Gast. I assume that Luthen told them where he was. We see a light beacon, which is what they use to know to contact Luthen. A little light across the city, you know, starts blinking, and then they're like, okay, there's another mission for us. So I'm assuming Luthen told them where Dr. Gast was. And then they end up murdering him, and they explode the building, and then they walk away, and that's like how the 3 episodes ends for their arc, really. So I'm hoping that a year from now, Bix is no longer having those nightmares. She, you know, she got her closure. Dr. Gast is gone, right? So I have to assume that she's okay, I guess. Anyways, let's see what else. Yeah, we got a lot of Luthen this episode, and Luthen and Mon Mothma together. There was some sort of senator investment event. It was like a weird art gallery / hey, I'm rich, let me show off my stuff that I got kind of party scene. And really the big drama here was that for some reason they had a listening device on the Chandrilan gangster, I forget his name, the one that Mon Mothma's daughter married his son. Anyways, they had a listening device on some of his art that they sold him, and because a different piece was counterfeit, they're going to have people come inspect all the art to make sure it's not counterfeit, which means, of course, they will discover the listening device, which would lead right back to Luthen. So during this whole senator party thing that's happening, they have to basically sneak into this room, take out the listening device, and it barely works because in this room is also Director Krennic and a bunch of other Imperials, and they're all and what's his name? Is it Lenny? Lenny? The ISB officer that was working for Luthen. He's also there, and he's helping the the assistant girl trying to take out the listening device. And I don't know, it was cool to see Krennic again. He shows up for a second. He and Mon Mothma are like kind of having it out. They even like say the quiet part loud, where he says something like, "Oh yeah, I guess, you know, my rebels are your terrorists," or something like that. He basically, it's like, okay, so like how much can you say out loud? And Mon Mothma's like being real critical towards Krennic, and I'm like, you know, you can't just say you're like supporting a rebellion, right? Like Mon Mothma, you gotta you gotta like put on some kind of act here. You can't just like be this outwardly hostile towards Krennic, because it feels like, I don't know, she did mention that like he was on witness stands or something, so I guess he's, you know, he's made some kind of court appearances, or he got in trouble for something. I don't know if I need to watch it again and they established what their history actually was, but they seem to already have like a pre-established hatred for each other, so that was interesting to find out, I guess. Anyways, they managed to get the listening device, they leave, and that's it really. I mean, we also have the kid, is it Wildom, I think, or something like that. Anyways, so the kid that was from Ferrix also, who escaped with them last episode, he is on a mission to give Saw Gerrera this device that can steal some kind of fuel of some sort. It's not coaxium, it's some other kind of fuel. And also we find out that Saw Gerrera loves to just breathe this stuff in, this like toxic burning substance. He just wants to breathe it all in for some reason, which would explain why he eventually does start wearing the mask thing, right? Now, I feel like in Rebels, Star Wars Rebels, they had like a different explanation for why he has to start wearing the breathing apparatus. He has to like breathe into that every once in a while. But it feels like they're going with this one now, where it's like, oh, he's addicted to this gas that he keeps breathing in, and even gets the kid to breathe it in. And basically, this kid's part of Saw's crew now. So I have to imagine that, you know, Cassian and Bix are not going to see this kid for a while, until they cross paths with Saw Gerrera. Well, actually, I guess they don't even cross paths until Rogue One, so I don't know what happens to this kid, but I don't think he's around anymore. I don't know, he's hanging out with Saw probably until he dies on some mission, I guess. So, and that's pretty much where we leave everyone. The Gorman massacre still has not happened yet. You know, and then Bix might finally be, you know, done with her trauma, and whatever the real plan is, you know, like the Gormans pulled off this heist, and I guess the plan was that the Empire is going to be allowed to retaliate now and finally do their drilling. I guess my thing is, you know, again, the next week we're jumping another year ahead, so I don't know, are you just gonna say that like, yeah, I guess off screen there was some retaliation, and then we finished our big armory or whatever we're building, and now we're drilling into the planet, I guess? I don't really know. I don't know what you do with the time jump. So yeah, I guess my thing is, I was kind of hoping that more would ultimately happen. It feels like we got a lot of character beats. We lost Cinta, she's dead. You know, but overall it feels like we didn't make a lot of progress, like in the bigger picture sense. Like just a bunch of smaller things happened, but it feels like next week when we're in 2 BBY, now the Gorman massacre is gonna finally happen. Maybe we'll finally meet K2SO. Maybe, you know, like maybe, right? Like a bunch of you know, more like plot significant stuff will happen. This one, I don't know. For right now, I gotta think it over. I gotta like kind of digest those 3 episodes, because a lot of cool stuff did happen, but ultimately I was kind of felt like when episode 6 ended, I was like, oh come on, there's got to be like one more episode. These are all like, all these episodes are an hour each, and I still kind of was left feeling like there was supposed to be more to this. So I don't know. For me, I'm a little disappointed how this arc went, because it felt like it didn't make a logical sense to end there. It felt like, okay, but something's gonna happen the next morning. Like after this heist on Gorman, the next morning something significant happens, and now we just don't get to see that. So I don't know. We'll hear about it, I guess. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about episodes 4 through 6 of Andor. What do you think is going to happen next week? I have to imagine we finally meet K2SO, right? Because they've been hanging out at least for a couple years, you know, and I don't know. I guess when I watched Rogue One, they give you kind of the feeling that Cassian and K2SO have been together for like 5 or 10 years even. Like they've been together for a while and they're best buds. But if he's only had K2SO for like 1 year, I don't know. It's not quite the R2-D2 relationship, is it? I don't know. That's just my feelings. I'd rather them have been friends for a while, just because it makes that emotional punch when you see K2SO get shot. Anyways, so they have said that when you finish this season, watching Rogue One will feel different. So I am curious to see how that ultimately ends up happening, because right now it feels like there's so much more that was going on in Cassian's life leading up to those events. Like, I think we can safely say Bix is probably dead, right? Like by the time Rogue One shows up, like she's nowhere to be seen. I have to imagine she's dead. The kid that just joined Saw Gerrera's group, you don't see him anywhere, right? So he's probably dead also. You know, like how Luthen is probably dead. Luthen's assistant probably dead. Like all these people, like half of them have to die within the next couple years, because you know you've never shown up and you've never been mentioned since. And you know, like someone like Luthen, who's so integral to like trying to build the rebellion, the only explanation is that he died at some point. So I guess we'll see if that happens next week. It just feels like there's a lot of ground to cover, so to already be halfway done and like it doesn't feel like the story has moved to the halfway point for me, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.